presenting the results of some research we've done that looks at the implications for the Montana economy of the Clean Power Plan, which was finalized in August. That plan sets a pretty large threshold for Montana's existing fossil fuel power plants to meet in terms of CO2 reduction. And so we're looking at what some of the implications and the actions the state would have to take to comply with that, how those would work themselves through the economy.
All right. Now, Patrick, when it comes to things like coal-fired power plants, I understand it's a major way that we receive electricity, and of course, it's also a major part of our state economy. So, with these new measures, how would that be affected here in this state?
Well, it's too early to know exactly what the actions the state do to comply. Those will have to be filed next year. But they certainly threaten the continued operation of the largest coal-fired facility in the state, which is Colstrip, which is incidentally the largest industrial facility in the state. So that's just a matter of looking at the arithmetic, of looking at the amount of CO2 that we would have to reduce and what the opportunities would be to do that.
Now, when you have visited with folks who are coal producers, do they see these new regulations as basically an industry killer?
Well, certainly the coal industry, our focus, by the way, is on the compliance with the regulation, which strictly speaking just involves, the emitters of CO2 in power production, which is coal-fired power plants by and large in Montana. The coal industry, of course, is going to be impacted because of, the impact of this regulation rolling out nationwide. Montana Coal, of course, the primary customers are electric utilities. We burn our own coal in Colstrip, of course, but the coal that's mined elsewhere in the state goes to power plants in Michigan, Minnesota, and different points around the country. And so there's clearly some issues in all the states caused by the Clean Power Plan.
Worst case scenario, Patrick, if there are no adjustments to this plan, the Clean Power Plan, and if it goes through as scheduled, what do you see over the next 5 to 10 years as the impact to Montana's economy?
Well, sadly, the worst case scenario is in the realm of possibility. I think the worst case scenario from the point of view of the economy is actually arguably what we looked at. That's one that calls for the closure of Colstrip, all 4 units. And it goes beyond that. It's a fairly lengthy presentation. I probably can't give it to you all on this phone call, but I'll just say that the job losses are significant. On over 7,000 jobs lost statewide. I think there's a lot of implications if Colstrip were to go offline to comply with this plan. There's a lot of implications that are difficult to appreciate simply because Colstrip has been a part of the economy for more than 30 years. So everything from low electricity prices paid, especially by Montana industrial customers who purchase their power directly on wholesale markets, everything from that to the continued operation of the 500 kV power line, which goes through Missoula County, by the way, and pays property taxes all along the way. All these kinds of things are called into question, and that's one of the reasons why we did this study.
Now, does your study also take into effect some of the possible alternative energy that may have to come in to replace the power that is being produced right now through coal?
Yes, and it's, like I say, there's a lot of moving parts, but strictly speaking, Colstrip, the entire power of Colstrip would not have to be replaced from a Montana point of view, because much of that power is exported to other states. But there would have to be changes made in Montana, at least we argue there would have to be able to keep the system whole, not just from the adding up the generation, where the megawatts come from, and so forth, but also from the engineering point of view of keeping a system which was built around a plant like Colstrip. And with Colstrip removed, then it stands to reason that there would have to be changes made in that system, both adding generation, adding transmission, and other things to keep the lights on, so to speak.
So basically, you can't just unplug one and plug in the other just using the same equipment.
Well, that's certainly not the case. And of course, if you're talking, for example, about wind power, then you have to worry about the filling in the gaps of when the wind isn't blowing. Where are you going to site it? How are you going to connect it? If you're talking about natural gas, then you're talking about an area where Montana really doesn't have a lot of natural gas generation today. If we were to site a plant to generate power natural gas, there'd have to be probably a pipeline built to support that plant. So there's a lot of moving parts. We look at a complete scenario. So and trying to understand what it means for the economy. In a nutshell, it involves a lot of new spending on replacement generation and transmission, and also walking away from what is already a performing asset, sort of the premature retirement, if you will, of a productive asset from the point of view of the economy.